Hello, this is Adam of American Teacher on YouTube. If you haven't, please click subscribe, give me a thumbs up, and leave a comment in the comment section below. Okay, today's topic is about the COVID misinformation. I found an interesting article in the Guardian newspaper, and it says that a majority of COVID misinformation came from 12 people. So this is crazy. 12 people influenced millions and gave them wrong information about COVID-19. The article says, this is an article that was written by Urum Salam, dated Saturday, July 17th. It says that the vast majority of COVID anti-vaccine misinformation and conspiracy theories originated from just 12 people. A report by the Center for Countering Digital Hate, cited by the White House this week, found. CCDH, a UK-US nonprofit and non-governmental organization, or NGO, found in March that these 12 online personalities they dubbed, quote, the Disinformation Dozen, end quote, have a combined following of 59 million people across multiple social media platforms, with Facebook having the largest impact. CCDH analyzed 812,000 Facebook posts and tweets and found that 65% came from the Disinformation Dozen. Vivek Murthy, U.S. Surgeon General, and Joe Biden focused on misinformation around vaccines this week as a driving force of the virus spreading. On Facebook alone, these 12 are responsible for 73% of all anti-vaccine content, though the vaccines have been deemed safe and effective by the U.S. government and its regulatory agencies. And not just the U.S. government. I'm interjecting here. These vaccines have been deemed safe and effective by many countries around the world. And 95% of the COVID misinformation, getting back to the article, reported on these platforms were not removed. And that's counter to what a lot of people are saying. A lot of people are saying that the social media platforms are not allowing you to have free speech. But the majority, vast majority, 95% of this disinformation was allowed to remain on social media platforms. They say among the dozen are physicians that have embraced pseudoscience, a bodybuilder, a wellness blogger, a religious zealot, and most notably Robert F. Kennedy Jr., the nephew of John F. Kennedy, who has also linked vaccines to autism and 5G broadband cellular networks to the coronavirus pandemic. Kennedy was since removed from Instagram, which Facebook owns, but not removed from Instagram itself. Quote, Facebook, Google, and Twitter have put policies into place to prevent the spread of vaccine misinformation. Yet to date, all have failed to satisfactorily enforce these policies, end quote, wrote CCDH's CEO Imran Ahmed in the report. Quote, all have been particularly ineffective at removing harmful and dangerous misinformation about coronavirus vaccines, end quote. And what is the effect of this vaccine disinformation? By the way, I will name the 12 people that the article says were responsible for the majority of COVID disinformation. Those people are Joseph Mercola, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., Ty and Charlene Bollinger, Sherry Tenpenny, Riza Islam, Rashid Buttar, Erin Elizabeth, Sayer G., Kelly Brogan, Christine Northrup, Ben Tapper, and Kevin Jenkins. So these 12 people have spread the majority of COVID disinformation, according to the CCDH. And what kind of effect is this having? Well, it's killing people, basically. And it's causing people to, more and more people to suffer unnecessarily from COVID-19. So in the New York Times, here's one outcome, one story about the outcome of this vaccine disinformation. And Jonas Salk never had to contend with this when he invented the polio vaccine. As it has been said by he who will not be named, because he has become an anathema to conservatives and to conspiracy theorists. But this person basically said that if we had this kind of disinformation in the time of the polio vaccine, polio would still be a threat. And I believe it. It's breathtaking how many people buy into this disinformation that they read on their social media platforms and that they hear from other people. Okay, so in this article in the New York Times, which was written by Sharon Lafreniere, dated July 17th, 2021, in under-vaccinated Arkansas, COVID upends life all over again. The byline says, while much of the nation tiptoes toward normalcy, the coronavirus is again swamping hospitals in places like Mountain Home, a rural county where fewer than one-third of residents are vaccinated. Fewer than a third. And everybody has access to the vaccine now in the US. They don't have an excuse. The vaccine's free, they have access to it. If you don't have a way to get to the vaccine, I'm sure there are people who would willingly take you to get your vaccine. So the article says, when the boat factory in this leafy Ozark Mountain city offered free coronavirus vaccinations this spring, Susan Johnson, 62, a receptionist there, declined the offer, figuring she was protected as long as she never left the house without a mask. Linda Marion, 68, a widow with chronic pulmonary disease, worried that a vaccination might actually trigger COVID-19 and kill her. Barbara Billigmeyer, 74, an avid golfer who retired here from California, believed she did not need it because, quote, I never get sick. Last week, all three were patients on 2 West, an overflow ward that is now largely devoted to treating COVID-19 at Baxter Regional Medical Center, the largest hospital in north central Arkansas. Mrs. Billigmeyer said the scariest part was, quote, that you can't breathe. For 10 days, Miss Johnson had relied on supplemental oxygen for being fed to her lungs through nasal tubes. Miss Marion said that at one point she felt so sick and frightened that she wanted to give up. Quote, it was just terrible, she said. I felt like I couldn't take it. Yet despite their ordeals, none of them changed their minds about getting vaccinated. Quote, it's just too new, Mrs. Billigmeyer said. It is like an experiment. While much of the nation tiptoes toward normalcy, the coronavirus is again swamping hospitals in places like Mountain Home, a city of fewer than 13,000, not far from the Missouri border. A principal reason, health officials say, is the emergence of the new, far more contagious variant called Delta, which now accounts for more than half of new infections in the US. The variant has highlighted a new divide in America between communities with high vaccination rates, where it hardly causes a ripple, and those like Mountain Home that are under-vaccinated, where it threatens to upend all life all over again. Part of the country is breathing a sigh of relief. part of it is holding its breath. While infections rose in more than half the nation's counties last week, those with low vaccination rates were far more likely to see bigger jumps. Among the 25 counties with the sharpest increases in cases, all but one had vaccinated under 40% of residents, and 16 had vaccinated under 30%, a New York Times analysis found. So, what can I say? If you follow the research, if you follow the trials and the information coming from sources like Johns Hopkins, then you know that the odds of the vaccine killing you are extremely, extremely rare, extremely low. And your odds of dying of coronavirus are much higher. Now, while it's true that most young people don't have as severe an outcome as people who are older, there are many instances of teenagers and younger people getting the virus and dying from it. So all I can do is plead with you to get the vaccine. Taiwan is experiencing a shortage of vaccines. They don't have enough to vaccinate the entire population, but as soon as my turn comes, I will definitely get the vaccine. I will not hesitate. Because not only will the vaccine protect me, it will protect elderly people who are more likely to suffer death or severe illness due to COVID-19. So educate yourself, go to, if you've bought into these conspiracy theories and you don't trust the CDC, go to hospital research websites like Johns Hopkins, and look up the facts about the vaccine, and please combat the disinformation that people are trying to spread. I have no doubt that that part of the spread is due to foreign actors, people who are paid by enemy countries of the U.S. to spread this disinformation. But if we want to get back to a semblance of normal, we must get vaccinated. Thank you for watching American Teacher. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the box below. Give me a thumbs up. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.